I have owned every generation of Ram Cummins truck, and not as a collector, but as a real use farm truck. So this isn't a test drive review. This is what actually matters if you use your pickup to help you make a living. We bought this pickup to tow heavy trailers, move fertilizer, tow big horse trailers. We bought this pickup and we daily drive it because we only have one vehicle. We also bought a 1-ton pickup and not a 3/4 or a 1/2 ton because we need the extra capacity that we get out of these 1-ton vehicles. Look, even though this truck looks really good, we didn't buy it for that. We bought it for the hard work that it's gonna do for our family and our farm. Look, we use this truck for literally everything because it's like the only vehicle we have. If we're talking pulling, you know, almost any trailer, from little stock trailers to huge living quarters horse trailers that it probably shouldn't pull, but it actually pulls it really, really well. Also, we've got that bumper hitch that I use to move fertilizer tanks, fertilizer spreaders, and a numerous amount of small trailers from that rear hitch. And not only has this pickup been able to handle it, but you can see it hasn't been babied. We use the pickup. We actually use it for farm work. So whether it's hooking up to a gooseneck trailer, hooking up to the back of that hitch, or just driving to go get groceries, this pickup is the thing that we use every single day. It's really hard to go wrong with that Cummins inline-6 engine, and in this instance, the Eisen 6-speed automatic transmission. This pairing is literally the pinnacle of automatic 6-speed transmissions and the Cummins engine. Yes, these modern trucks have a lot more electronics, not only in the operating system, but in the cab. And those older mechanical 12-valve trucks, and even those 24-valve trucks early on, is really hard to beat with just the simplicity. But in the modern age where we live in, there is just a lot more stuff going on. And then on top of that, with modern age, we also have the emission systems with the EGR, the DPF, and the SCR. Now, I haven't had any problems other than I had an EGR quit on me at 97,000 miles. But I mean, considering the life that this truck lives, that's pretty good because it does have quite a bit of idle time, but at the same time, it does get quite a bit of hard miles. So it's not surprising that the emission system quit on me. But overall, we have been very happy even with the reliability of these new modern, highly electronically controlled Cummins engines. While they do have their quirks and they do have their small points that you can fix and definitely bulletproof them even higher, this right here, in my opinion, is still the best modern diesel engine you can get. And I've heard with those new 8-speed transmissions that the new ones have, they're even better. So what does this pickup actually do well? Now, and I think this is going for this generation and most Cummins Rams trucks. The things that I really like about them and think they do well is I think they tow better than the other brands. And the reason I think they tow better is because they put the power to the ground in a different way. Yes, they are not as fast to accelerate, but this thing still has 400 horsepower and over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. That is a whole lot in one package. Like, people from 25 years ago can't even imagine what 400 horsepower in a pickup truck is, and you get it here from the factory. On top of that, it has all the power in the world to move very large trailers. You guys can see that we've pulled excessively large trailers with this, and I never felt like the truck was underpowered for the vehicle. On top of that, one thing that Ram Cummins, without a doubt, does better than the other OEMs is have an exhaust brake that actually works. This exhaust brake is actually a useful feature, and it's absolutely incredible because it allows you to tow those super heavy trailers with a lot more confidence than if you were to use one of the other brands. Because the other brands, you are literally relying on the service brakes to do that job. And honestly, the combination of the service brakes that are available and that exhaust brake just whip the other OEMs in that regard. And so for me, I think these trucks tow better than the other competition, especially when you've got Cummins, Eisen, and the exhaust brake and the service brakes. Like that combination, it just really at the pinnacle. So right, this is a high output engine. This is the Eisen transmission. I've had the 68 RFE transmission in other pickups. I didn't have any problems with them, but I know people who have. My brother has had them and had issues, but at the same time, if you take care of them, they can be a good transmission too. And I think that's where it comes down to. A lot of this is if you're taking good care of these pickups, they will probably serve you well. If you are hard on them, beat on them, and don't take care of them, they probably aren't going to serve you as good. I can sit here and have praise for this pickup all day long, and honestly, like, I do, but there are some things that absolutely irk me about this 2020 Ram 3500. And a couple of those things include that this cab is the same cab that they've used since 2009. Now, yes, this is a 2020, but we're in the 2026 year model and they're still using the same cab. The problem with that, in my opinion, is that those newer trucks should have a bigger cab. The 1500 has a bigger cab, but they are still using, at this point, a 17-year-old cab in their modern trucks. They're just lagging behind Ford and GM as far as rear cabin space. I do not think you have enough room in this pickup, especially if you have kids or a family and you're hauling them a lot. Now, for me, if this is my work truck, this is plenty of room. I really like it. I like that it's a little more compact. The other things that originally I didn't like about this truck was 20-inch wheels. I've kind of gotten over that. These are the best looking wheels that Ram makes, I feel like, honestly. And I'm really happy about how this has turned out. Other things that I don't like, but it's not necessarily just a Ram thing. One thing I don't like about this truck is that the emissions warranty and the powertrain warranty don't line up to each other, and you have to have the emissions warranty to make sure the emissions intact to still make sure you get your powertrain warranty. So the emissions warranty is only 3 years, 36,000 miles, where these trucks had a 5-year, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. If your emissions crap the bed and you decide to put them on a weight loss package, that go ahead and voids all the rest of your warranties, and that's really annoying. I know emissions are required and they're kind of part of it, but it'd be really nice if the OEMs found out a way to be able to get those warranties a lot closer, and so that you're not having to overlap. I do hope to put this truck on a weight loss program because we are now at 175,000 miles, and I know some of those emission components are definitely getting to the end of their lifespan. So another thing I really don't like is the emission systems. I think, you know, we spend more time and money on those stinking emission systems instead of actually figuring out how to make a vehicle more fuel efficient. See, one other thing I'm kind of irked about is the fuel economy. Obviously, I know this pickup is bigger and heavier than pickups that are 25 years old, like my 95 5-speed 12 valve that I had. But that 12 valve hopped up, still got 20 miles a gallon plus, where this one can hardly get 15 just driving around. Now, you hook it up to a really, really big trailer, like that living quarters we had, you can get 8, but I mean, 8 miles a gallon is not crazy for how much weight it's pulling. But it can also has a lot more capability than there's older trucks. So, but at the end of the day, I feel like these trucks should be getting at least 20 miles a gallon, and they're not. Now, if you put them on a late wash program, you can get closer, but you still can't get all the way there. Another thing I absolutely love about this truck is this has a 50-gallon fuel tank. It's awesome. But right behind the fuel tank, this truck rides rough. It is a 1-ton truck. It doesn't, you know, there is that, but I mean, what can you do about it? Let's just be clear. The maintenance is ridiculous on a modern diesel pickup. It is, you know, where I could change my oil on my 12 valve for under 50 bucks. You're gonna have at least, the cheapest oil I've found for this is 60 bucks for the 3 gallons. Then you got the filter, so you're at least 75 bucks. You're 25% more, and that's on a good day. But not to mention, you've got 2 fuel filters, and those fuel filters are really expensive. You're talking at least $110 on that set of fuel filters. You've got the cabin air filter. You've got the service air or the engine air filter. You've got, you know, all of the transfer case, the transmission, the differentials, all of those are super expensive. So like if you go to a dealer and you say, hey, I want you to do everything. I want you to change the oil. I want you to check the oil in the diffs, the transmission, the transfer case, or change it. I want you to flush the transmission. I want you to change the crankcase ventilation filter, the air filter, and the cabin air filter. You're looking at $3,000 plus. Like, it's an expensive day at the dealership you take to do that. Obviously, if you do it on your own, it's a lot better off. Not to mention you have the added cost of the diesel exhaust fluid and any emissions related problems. The maintenance on these trucks definitely sucks. There's no getting around it, but it's kind of part of it. Yes, they have a little bit higher, they definitely have a higher operating cost, but you're also paying for the capability, right? And so these trucks, especially these modern ones, right, are super capable, and so there's a little bit of give and take there. And one other thing I'll mention, just with how much electronics is in these modern trucks, and it's probably every brand, batteries really do not last near as long as they're supposed to. And a lot of times their warranties are voided for certain reasons on these new modern heavy duty diesel pickups. I've had this pickup for a little over 3 years and I'm already on my 3rd set of batteries. I had the ones that came with at 27,000 miles. I replaced them one time and now I just replaced them again. And so it's kind of a pain in the butt that you burn through batteries that fast. And unfortunately, sometimes the warranties are not covering if they are in an HD diesel pickup. And obviously the question comes down to, would I buy it again? And if you don't know by now, yes, absolutely. I will be buying more Ram Cummins diesel pickups. I don't like the other OEMs because I spend a lot more time using my truck for real work. And usually that real work ends up being towing. And these pickups with the engine and transmission and the exhaust brake and the service brakes, that combination is probably, in my opinion, the best towing combination there is on the market if you are actually using it a lot. And that exhaust brake is absolutely incredible. I would buy it again. I don't know if I get it as fancy as this one. Obviously, this is a limited trim truck. It's super nice on the inside. I don't need all that stuff, but you know, it's nice to have when you have a family. It's nice to have the heated and cooled seats and the leather and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you just need a solid work truck, man, Ram can definitely get you covered. And right now with these new trucks and the 8 speeds and all that stuff that's come out, I think Ram's really made some improvements. But I will say they really need to update that cab. They really should just go ahead and get rid of this old 4th gen cab and really improve it. Overall, I'm super happy. And like I said, I've been buying Ram Cummins trucks since, you know, that was the first pickup I ever bought. We've had a 91, a 94, a 95, a 2003, oh man, I've been in 2014s, 2016s, 2012s, 2010s, 2018, 2019, 2020, and I've had a 2021 also. So kind of been all through the gamut of these trucks. They are really solid. They're a good platform to work off of if you want to do stuff too. And in my opinion, they're just better, especially for the kind of work that I do, working on a farm, working on a ranch. This is the best truck for the money, in my opinion. So if you like real equipment and you like real thought process and actual real use out on a farm and a ranch, and you think that information is important, go ahead and subscribe. God bless. Thank you guys for watching American Beef Ranch. We'll see you next time.